We know this was a civil case. The bar was lower for to find him liable of this. Yet there will be folks who will look at this and wonder, will there be any form of criminal accountability for these actions?
And that's unlikely because of the age of these events. But let's put this into perspective. This is a former president of the United States being held accountable for some pretty horrendous conduct that took place even a long time ago.
Laura Jarrett, let me bring you back into the conversation. You've had a time to kind of go over these various questions. I think there were 10 questions in all that the jury was asked to answer on these issues of battery, which in this case would be the sexual assault allegation, and the defamation. What stands out to you as you go through this?
Yeah, Lister, again, the fact that they awarded punitive damages, I think, is noteworthy because, as it's sort of self-explanatory, it's meant to punish. It's meant for conduct that is seen as extremely reckless and seen as highly immoral, as described by the judge today, and clearly something that this jury used to send a message. And it's interesting, you know, this jury was kept anonymous, and so we don't know all that much about them, but you can imagine in the coming days, there's going to be a lot of desire to try to get in their heads, to try to get inside that jury room to understand their deliberations more and what was persuasive to them and what wasn't. And it's the little bit that we do know about them is interesting. You know, they're all walks of life. You have a former janitor, you have a physical therapist, several parents. They range in age from 26 into their late 60s. They come from all over the state of New York because it's a federal case. And I should note the reason that they're anonymous is because the judge, in a rare move, decided to keep this jury secret because he said the risk to them was that the former president would tweet about them or post about them on social media and that they could be subject to attack. The judge saying that the president has a history of coming after jurors, other folks in law enforcement, members of the judiciary themselves. And so it's just interesting to note that he did such a rare move here. But the jury's verdict is obviously self-explanatory now.
I'm curious what the legal thinking was to not ask for a damage amount in this case, to leave it to the jury at the same time that the plaintiffs are claiming her reputation was hurt, presumably her marketability was hurt. What was the thinking there, you believe?
I think that it was a strategic move because they knew if they put a certain dollar amount on it, then if they fell short of that, that would be seen as a devastating loss, whereas now you have $5 million that has been awarded when she didn't ask for a single dime. She didn't ask for anything. And so I think from an optics, from a strategic standpoint, it was a deliberate move by Carroll's attorneys.
And back to the idea of whether there will be an appeal. Does that again make it harder for the defendant in this case to have an appeal when the number is not what most people would think outrageous in terms of the size?
I think the harder thing for the former president is that it's a jury trial. And typically when you have a jury trial and you have several days of testimony and the judge has, allowed him a last-ditch opportunity to testify, which he didn't take, those are the kinds of things I think the court will find interesting. Obviously, the number itself, again,
right.
Eye-popping.
Laura Jarrett, thank you. That concludes this NBC News special report. More throughout the day on our streaming channel, NBC News Now. And, of course, on Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt in New York. Good day, everyone.
Welcome back.